Welcome to the Egg Whisperer Show, a program exclusively designed to promote reproductive health awareness and discuss fertility preservation options. Here is your host, the Harvard-educated fertility specialist, Dr. Amy.
She's known as the Egg Whisperer.
Fertility expert Dr. Amy Abazadeh.
And you have yet another success story
Just launched by an East Bay fertility doctor.
Hi everyone, thank you for watching tonight's show. I'm Dr. Amy and I'm a fertility doctor here in the San Francisco Bay Area. So the topic of tonight's show is 10 things to avoid if trying to conceive, and no, your in-laws or testicles are not anywhere on this list. Just trying to be funny here. But I would say the first thing to avoid is the obvious. Stop ignoring it. And you know what I mean. You see these people on the hill, there's a sign that says don't go beyond this point, and yet they're still beyond that point. So the obvious would be you're not getting along with your partner. Don't ignore it. Get help. Get a therapist, because trust me, having a baby is not going to fix that. The obvious would be also like not having periods for 2 years or 3 years. I see it all the time. And people come in and I'm like, why did you ignore it? You should have gotten help. But sometimes people just don't know, or other doctors have told them you should just wait until you're ready to have a baby and then get help. But in order to get pregnant, you need to ovulate. So don't ignore that. And the other thing, don't ignore pelvic pain. What if you're having really bad periods? If your doctor's not listening to you, find someone that will, but don't ignore the obvious. Number 2 is avoid processed foods. Having French fries here and there, some fried onion rings, chicken nuggets, I mean, that sounds really good and maybe what I had for dinner last night. But having processed foods all day long, every day, not a good idea. Think of trimester 0. That's before the first, second, and third trimester, and that's preparing for pregnancy. And you want to be as healthy as possible, and eating processed foods equals more inflammation in your body and maybe a lower chance of pregnancy. So eat healthy food, eat lots of greens, lots of yummy fruits and vegetables, and get your inflammatory levels down and get your body ready for pregnancy. So number 3 is avoid environmental toxins. You have to go to this website, enhancingfertility.com. She has a great, it's a list of 10 things and what you can do. And literally, take your shoes off when you're home is one of them. Avoid flame retardants, avoid lead, a lot of obvious stuff, but she really breaks it down in a really helpful way. She's a fertility doctor too, so please check out enhancingfertility.com and look at her list of 10 things to avoid and how to basically improve fertility by making your surroundings as healthy as possible. The 4th thing to avoid, it's hard to find a really non-glamorous picture of smoking, so I had to find this picture. Avoid smoking. And I know all your friends smoke and they got pregnant easily. I'm telling you, it's not good for your sperm or egg cells. Think of cigarettes as sperm killers and egg killers. Women who smoke chronically have a higher risk of having early menopause. Men who smoke, the DNA of the sperm is just So let's avoid that. Let's give yourself the best chance of pregnancy, and whatever you to do now in trimester 0 will only help the health of your future pregnancy. So chronic smoking is bad. So just trust Auntie Amy. I know what I'm talking about, okay? So the other thing to avoid is heavy drinking. Don't make your sperm drunk. They don't do well, swimming up the tube if they're very dizzy. We don't want them dizzy. We want them to move really swiftly. A cup of coffee or 2 a day actually isn't bad. A lot of people think that's bad. And drinking is really, really bad. Drinking and cooking your balls. Both things, don't cook your balls and drink at the same time. And if you're wondering how to cook your balls, don't Google that. So the next thing to avoid is stop avoiding help. So if you know anything about me, and if you saw me on Instagram with my, what I thought, clever Halloween costume, my staff and I, we were the Tushy method for Halloween, so you have to check that picture out. But stop avoiding help. Fertility problems are basically a medical condition. Not basically, truthfully. When people have chest pain, they go to the doctor. When people have high blood pressure, they go to the doctor. If you have fertility problems, go to the doctor, get a fertility screening, and there are 5 simple steps that you can take. Get your tubes checked, get your uterus checked, get sperm health checked, get your hormones checked, and get your genetic profile checked. And if you have any questions on how to do that, go to my website, find me. I'm actually really easy to find. Send me a message, we'll get that process started for you. The 7th thing to avoid is please stop blaming yourself. It takes 2 to tango. There are so many factors that are involved in getting pregnant. Along the lines of stop avoiding getting help, stop blaming yourself. Life is too dang short. My patients ask me all the time, Dr. Amy, why do you think this didn't work? And not to act like a smart aleck, I often will say it's because you're human and you're not a mouse, you're not a bunny, although it would be nice if we had the fertility of bunnies, but human beings are the most inefficient mammals when it comes to reproduction. So it's called human reproduction, not other animal reproduction, for a reason. And while you hear people that fertility brag all the time about how they get pregnant by, just looking at their partners, and that's really great for them. But the reality is most people actually are not like that. Most people actually have to try for over 6 months to conceive a healthy pregnancy. Miscarriages are part of the human experience, but getting help by a fertility specialist will give you the diagnosis and the information you need so that you can basically give yourself the best chance of pregnancy with the right appropriate treatments for you. So please be nice to yourself and stop blaming. The 8th thing to avoid is baby showers. I see patients 7 days a week, so lots of patients come into my office on Saturdays and even Sundays, and they come in and they give me the face of, because I always ask people, oh, so what are you doing this weekend? And they'll say to me, well, I'm going to a baby shower after this visit, and I really don't want to go. Don't go. So if you're my patient, you have one thing that you're not allowed to do, and that's go to baby showers, especially when you don't want to. Men don't force themselves to go to things like that if they don't want to, so why should we as women make ourselves do something that we don't want to do? The only baby shower that my patients are actually allowed to go to is their own. So once you have your kids, go to baby showers. But until then, I don't want you to do something that's going to make you blame yourself even more, cause you to be down and depressed, because life is too dang short. If you don't want to go, please don't force yourself to go. I think your friends are really going to understand and everything is going to be okay. So put yourself first when it comes to baby showers and avoid going, especially if you don't want to go. So listen to your body, listen to your mind, and say no if you don't want to. So if you know me, I hate the word stress. I hate it, but I'm going to use it here because the 9th thing that I tell my patients to avoid is stress. And breathe. I talk a lot about mindfulness and meditation and different websites and different meditation apps like calm.com. And there are so many different ones like Circle and Bloom that you can download and listen to. And there's simple things like you can do with your Apple Watch. Mine's obviously charging at home because I'm looking at it and it's not on my wrist. But just simply taking deep breaths in and out. So many of us just trap our breaths and just breathe so shallowly. So if you learn some mindfulness techniques, that can really, really help. And there are great fertility coaches out there. Tasha Blasi is one of them. She is awesome. And what she taught me is that stress, think of it as clutter. And don't think of it as stress, because telling me to stop stressing and chill out just annoys the crud out of me. But when someone tells me, Amy, what are you going to do to declutter and remove the clutter from your life? I can handle that. I actually can totally handle that, and a lot better than someone telling me to just relax or chill out, because that's pretty much really, really annoying. So please do whatever you can to declutter your life and talk to a therapist about what you can do, whether it comes to like your personal relationships, work relationships, family relationships, to improve everything around you so that the experience of being a fertility patient and trying to conceive doesn't suck as much as it really does. So the 10th thing to avoid, I thought this was really funny, it's beetle sex. Yeah, avoid having sex with beetles, people. No, that's not what I'm talking about. It's avoid abstinence. Yeah. So if you're trying to conceive, what I find happens so often is patients say to me, Amy, I've been saving up for the last, 2 months. And I'm like, what are you saving up for? Because you're not supposed to do that. More is better when it comes to intercourse. And even my IVF patients, I counsel them to actually continue to be intimate and have sex. It's really unfair to tell a woman who's hopped up on hormones to avoid sex, because you're often feeling actually very sexual. And I'm talking about things very openly because it's the darn truth. Certainly talk to your doctor, because everyone's physician is different. But my recommendation for the male partner is to ejaculate every 3 to 4 days during a treatment cycle, even 1 to 2 months ahead of time. So you don't want to, save up, because the sperm's going to come out really old and probably not moving so well. There might be a lot of them, but it's not about impressing the fertility clinic and the entire city of wherever that fertility clinic is with how much volume you can get in a cup. And it's true. I did actually have a guy once who stayed home for about 6 hours before coming in. He literally filled the cup. literally. There might have been some blood specks in the cup too. But I didn't want to make fun of him. And maybe I was like, seriously, dude, like you really thought that you need to stay home all day and fill that cup? But that's a really funny story for another time. He's actually a good friend of mine, him and his wife. So along those lines, when a guy collects a sample, you're just going to coat the bottom of the cup. And that's all. And that's normal. It's like a teaspoon. And it's just, and the cups are just awful that they give you. I totally get it. But the reality is, if you're trying to conceive, don't abstain. Abstinence seems silly. You're not saving up for anything. You're not trying to impress anybody. So just keep having sex. And if you look at fertility rates and when people get pregnant at the highest rate, they actually get pregnant if they start having sex before ovulation. And I recommend 3 to 4 days prior to ovulation and 1 to 2 days at least after you think you've ovulated. A positive OPK can mean that you've already ovulated. You've ovulated in 24, 36, 48, or even 72 hours later. So these tests are extremely inaccurate. And so, you know, if you are just abstaining, holding back and holding up and saving up and just having sex once when you have a positive OPK, you could be totally missing your fertility window. So I hope you had fun watching the show. I'm just as funny when I throw egg freezing parties as well. And if you haven't heard about my Egg Whisperer diet, please do read about it. It's basically 4 steps that I take when it comes to educating my patients about my IVF process, and it includes diagnosis, IVF, endometrial testing, and then transfer. And as always, build your fertility team. And it doesn't matter what your diagnosis is. That involves therapy, exercise, eating. Consider seeing an acupuncturist if you enjoy acupuncture, and think about a meditation and mindfulness practice that you can incorporate in your daily life. So thank you for watching tonight's show. I hope these 10 things to avoid put a smile on your face, but in all seriousness, I think that they really can help. Have a great night, and I hope you join me next week. And be sure to catch my podcast, catch my blog articles on dramy.org, and I hope you subscribe to my newsletter too. Have a great night. Bye, everybody.
Welcome to the Egg Whisperer Show, a program exclusively designed to promote reproductive health awareness and discuss fertility preservation options. Here is your host, the Harvard-educated fertility specialist, Dr. Amy.
She's known as the Egg Whisperer.
Fertility expert Dr. Amy Abazadeh.
And you have yet another success story.
Just launched by an East Bay fertility doctor.